Let's talk about the 3A championship game. Heritage Hills comes on and beats Luers 38-15. For Bishop Luers, we saw kind of the heart of a champion in the second half against Garrett at semi-state. But Heritage Hills, I like the quarterback a lot. Jet Goldsberry, they're going to see him in their nightmares, unfortunately, during this offseason. But what was it about this game that ultimately made the difference in the final score for you?
Well, I think when you looked at Bishop Luers and you looked around the field, and everything they'd done this season, particularly in the playoffs, was very impressive. But you just still felt like this wasn't a great Bishop Luers team, that you looked at it and said, man, a lot of these kids are a year away. And it turned out that they played a team that had a lot of their guys at full capacity now, a lot of seniors for Heritage Hills. And eventually when you step up in class, it's going to affect you at some point. And for Bishop Luers, it didn't happen until that championship game. But now you look at Bishop Luers and you say, okay, in terms of what they have coming back, and Jace White, you expect him to take a step forward at quarterback. You have guys like D. Hogue and Devion Surrey and the Taylor boys all coming back. And you almost look at it and be like, well, gosh, if Bishop Luers comes out and does the exact same thing next year, they're going to move up to 4A for success factor. So be careful what you wish for, because I think Bishop Luers on paper is going to be a better football team heading into next year. And hey, I think if you ask Kyle Lindsey and say, yeah, if we can go out and win a state title next year, bump us up to 4A. I don't care, because it'll be another trophy.
Yeah, we talked about, Adams Central running the ball really well at the state championship game, East Noble being stymied a bit in the run game. Luers actually ran the football fairly effectively. Darye Williams with 139 yards. They rushed for almost 230 yards as a team. But if you're Kyle Lindsey, what's the takeaway? What do you tell these guys that are coming back next season? Because ultimately, you want to play your final game at Lucas Oil Stadium, and these guys are going to have a ton of experience. Sophomores and juniors on this year's team for next season.
And then you just sell it as unfinished business in Class 3A, right? Getting bumped up this year. First time getting to the state championship game in Class 3A, it was just the fact that Heritage Hills was able to own the point of attack, particularly with its offensive linemen. They did not allow a sack. They only allowed 3 tackles for loss. We know Ale Taylor, Jared Taylor, those guys are menaces up front, very much neutralized by Heritage Hills' offensive front, and that really was the difference of the game. But you bring back a lot of dudes, like you mentioned, that for the last 2 years have played a lot of football, went into the deep into the playoffs, won a 2A title, get to the 3A finals. You want to make history at Bishop Luers by winning a title in 3A. They can do it next year, but they'll have a lot to accomplish, a lot to work on between now and then.
And I think they snuck up on some people this year. They will, in 3A.
Yes.
They will not do that next year. People will be very much aware of what Luers brings to the table.